In this second session, we will be discussing how to create the programs that connect Python to the MySQL database. Okay. So in the previous session, we have studied about the theoretical portions. So the programs of database connectivity can be divided into two categories. Number one is programs that involve DDL and DML commands, and the second type is programs that involve select command. Okay. In both these types of program, we have a common code. So most of the lines are same for both the programs. A few lines are there that changes. Okay. So if you can see the top section of the programs, the first step that you know is to import that MySQL connector. That will be same in both the types of program. The second, that is the connection part, is also the same. Then the third is creating the cursor. That will be the same. Then the fourth, where we execute the command, is also the same, but just the query will change. Okay. So this top section will remain same, and the bottom section, that will be closing the cursor and the connection, will be same for both the types. Okay. So there will be change of only 2-3 lines that you have to take care of, otherwise most of the program is same. Okay. So let's see. So first we will check a program that uses select command. Okay. So first line is very simple, importing SQL connector. Then the second line also involves connecting to the database with the username, password, host name and database name. Very easy. Then next step, we create the cursor in which we will execute the command and we will get the records. Then in the cursor we will execute the command that is select star from admission. Okay. So when this command is executed, it returns something. Okay. So it will return all the records of the table. Okay. So to read those records, we have functions. You know that fetch all, fetch one and fetch many. So we have used fetch all so that we can fetch all the records from the table, and then we will store them in the data set called records. It is a result set. So my cursor is the cursor object that we have created, and through that cursor object we will fetch all the records. Okay. And when this fetch all command will be executed, those records will be saved in a result set object called records. Okay. It is a user defined object. So this records object will be containing various records. So we can iterate through these records using a for loop. So that's why we have used for loop. For x in records, print x. So using this for loop, we can print each record, okay, by iterating that result set object. Then we have to close the cursor and the connection. So you have seen that the lines that are written in bold are specially for this select command. Okay. This fetch all function can be changed according to the demand of the question with the fetch one or fetch many. Okay. It can be changed. So the lines that are in bold are the lines that are particular to this select command program. Okay. Next we see a program that uses DDL and DML command. Okay. So see, the top section is same. You can see the query that is to be executed is delete from admission. So we are deleting the records, and after running this command will just return, or it will just give the total number of records deleted, and that can be printed using that variable called row count. So we have used print records deleted, comma my cursor dot row count. So that's how you print the total number of records that have been affected. Okay. And after that, as it is a DDL oblique DML, that is it is related to the objects. So it is a DML command. It falls in the category of DDL oblique DML section. So it is a DML command that's why we have used this commit. Okay, because the changes have to be saved in the database, so we have saved it using commit function, and then we have closed the connection and the cursor. So if you compare it with the previous program, only the lines that are in bold are changed. Rest of the lines are same, just from except that query. Okay, in the previous question it was a select query that was giving you some result set object containing all the records, but here you are just having a query to delete the records from the table, and after executing this query the total number of records deleted is printed and you have committed your command. So that's why the changes done by you are saved in the database. So this is the only difference between a DDLDML command program and a command having select command. Okay, so only if you see a change of only 3 lines here and you have 2 lines here. Okay, rest of the top section and the bottom section remains same. Now we have a second approach to import the connector. Okay, because in the example that we have discussed, you can see we have written the top line as import mysql.connector. We can give it an alias name using the as keyword. You can see here is the as keyword. So this mysql.connector, this long name can be changed to a short name, that is DB. So wherever you require mysql.connector, you can replace it with DB. That's why you can see the second line is DB is equal to mysql.connector.connect. So it takes a bit long to type this code, but when we give it an alias name as DB, then we have just write con is equal to db.connect. So it becomes easy and it takes less time to code. So this approach is much better when you have to avoid that typing time. Okay, so you should know both the approaches. The first approach is using the proper name, import mysql.connector, and then you connect a connection called mysql.connector.connect. Okay, so if you want to minimize the typing time, you can use this as keyword that will give the connection, the database connector, an alias name. So you will write import mysql.connector as DB, and then you can use DB in the following code. Okay, I think it is clear to you. So second one, this second approach is mostly followed when you are creating a project. Okay, so when you are writing a simple program, then any of the approaches can be taken. But when you are working on a project where you have to use this name again and again, so this second approach of minimizing the name is followed. Okay. Now we have a new concept called parameterized query. So parameterized query is a type of query where the values used in the query are provided by the user. You are not going to provide any value yourself. You will be asking those values from the user to enter, and on basis of those values you will be getting that query executed. For example, whenever you go to a railway reservation system, the railway reservation system first asks you to enter your origin, your destination, date of journey, and many other things. Then only displays the total number of trains that are available. Okay, so it is also based on parameters. Okay, so in the previous questions we wrote our query by our own, and in this parameterized query we will be asking the user to provide us the value, and on the basis of those values we will be fetching the result from the database. Okay, so if you have studied all these previous programs and the theory section, this program will be easy for you. Just those parameters will be a bit confusing, so I will explain them. The first line is very clear. We have imported, then we have created a connection, then we have asked the user to input the product details. Okay, so in this program we are inserting a record into the database containing some specific values. So we have asked the user to enter the product ID, product name, product quantity and per unit price of that product. So after entering those values from the user, we have created a tuple. You can see this is a tuple. You have already studied the tuple in class 11th. So this is how we create a tuple. So we have created a tuple called record from all these values that have been entered by the user, and there will be a bit of change in the query pattern. So when you write the query, you will write insert into items values. So instead of providing the values yourself, you will use a place marker that is called %s. Okay, so these %s signs will be substituted by the values provided by the user. So the number of %s you have used are 4. That means you will be providing 4 values to this query. Okay, so when you execute this query using execute command in the cursor object, then you are providing that record value with the query also. Okay, so this execute function has 2 types. In one type that we have used earlier, we have only provided the query. If you want to see, I will go a bit backward. Here you can see this execute function has just one parameter, that is the query statement. But in this parameterized query program, we have 2 arguments. Number 1 is the query statement and number 2 is the values that are to be used. Because we are using parameters, those parameters will be replaced by the values contained in the record, that is a tuple. Okay, so after you execute this query, you will check if the affected row count, means the number of rows affected, is 1. That means the rows have been inserted, the record has been inserted, and then you can close the cursor object and the connection object. Okay, I think it is very clear to you. So whenever we want to make a program user dependent or user friendly, or we have to ask values from user, then we use this parameterized query. Okay, I have introduced this topic to you because you will be making project for your final submission, final practical submission. So in that project you will be using this parameterized query a lot. Okay, that's why this concept is very much required to be cleared before you proceed to your project part. Okay, so I am again telling you that these parameters will be used whenever you are accepting values from the user and you want to make your query dependent on the user input values. Okay, so you are not providing the values by yourself, so you will be asking the values from user, and those values will be pegged inside a tuple. Okay, so that they cannot be changed in between. That's why we use tuples. And %s will be a placeholder that will represent the substitution of values. Okay, and after that in the execute function we will provide query statement and the record value. So what will happen is the first %s sign will be replaced by the first value of the tuple, then second % sign will be replaced by second value, third % sign will be substituted by the third value of the tuple, and so on. Okay, please note that all the values that are being provided through a tuple must be same as per these numbers of %s marked. Okay, so if there are 4 %s here, then these values must be 4. Okay, and the sequence must be followed. Okay, so this is an example of a parameterized query that you will be using in your project. Okay, so I request you to try these parameterized query program in your system so that you get used to these parameterized query programs. Okay, great. Now I have created a user friendly MySQL connector. What is a user friendly MySQL connector? So whenever you are running a program or a project in your computer, then you know the username and password of your MySQL installation. But if you install it in some other computer. Suppose you are making your project at your home and you are using that MySQL of your own PC, then you will be having some different username and password, and when you come and show that project to your teacher in the school, then it should be installed in the computer of that school. Then it might be having some different username and password for MySQL. So using this program, you can ask the user to enter the username and password of the program. Okay, so that what we will do is, if the that system is not containing that particular database or those number of tables, then we can create those tables and database using that Python program only. Okay, so it is very useful when you port your program or project from one system to another system. Okay, so it is very useful. I have tried this program a lot of times, and it is very useful for a big project. Okay, what is the main thing here? We have asked the user to input the username of MySQL and the password, and then I have given that username password as the parameters in the connect command. Okay, then if the connection is established, it will go forward, otherwise it will give database connection error. So this try and accept block, this is used to check if there is any error in the program. If there is any runtime error, if you provide incorrect username or password, then this code will not run, and this statement will be printed. Okay, so this is called exception handling using this try and accept block. So this Python will try this code, and if there is any runtime error or any execution error, it will go to this accept block. Okay, if there is no error, then it will follow the code that you have written after this accept block. So if your database connection has been established, it will create a database, okay, using this query. Please note that we have used a separate query using some special keywords. You can see we have written the query as create database if not exists, and the name of the database is inventory. So if the inventory database is existing on that system, it will not be created. Otherwise, my Python code will create a new database named inventory on that system. Okay, and then you can use that inventory database, and after this you can go further and create your tables also. Okay, so those tables will be created and the database will be created. So that is very useful code that I have provided, and it is very easy. Okay, so nothing much of coding is required, but just 2 lines of code, and you can make it a user friendly MySQL connector system. Okay, let's move forward. So now we have come to the end of this chapter, and let us wind up this chapter here. And we are now familiar with the concepts of database, SQL commands, MySQL and Python database connectivity. You should be checking your SQL skills through that practical session on MySQL. Then after sharpening your SQL skills, try your hands on that Python MySQL connectivity program, because before trying that Python and MySQL connectivity, you should be clear with all those commands and all the keywords, all the phrases that are used in SQL commands, so that you are aware about all the commands and you can run all the commands in the database connectivity portion also. Okay, and when you are clear with the theoretical concepts and you have seen how to connect to a database in this video, then try to develop a small program that includes creation of table, insertion of records and updation. Okay, and it should be without parameterized query and using the parameterized query. So you should try both the variations. Okay, so first try simple queries of first creating a table, then inserting some records, and after that try some updation or searching based on the parameters provided by the user. Okay, so if you are still not completely okay with that parameterized query, please try the use parameterized query by seeing the program that I have made in this video, and you will be able to master that parameterized query portion, and it will help you a lot in your future also. Okay, and after you have followed this step-by-step guide, you will be able to make a complete menu driven project using Python and MySQL connectivity for yourself, and it will be very important for your final practical submission. And this project is of 8 marks. Okay, so many a times what the students do, they just go to the website, some internet website, and just copy and paste that code. Okay, so it is not desired from a student of class 12th who has studied Python for 2 years, one in 11th and second time in 12th. Okay, so you are now so much confident about using MySQL and Python, so you can develop a good project on this database connectivity part. Okay, so whenever you are fully fully confident that you can develop a small program using MySQL Python connectivity, try to make it a bit larger, and then step by step try to make a good project on this Python and MySQL connectivity portion. Okay, so using this connectivity part, when you develop a project, you will feel very confident, your skills will be sharpened, and whenever you will face that examiner in the practical examination, you will be confident to answer any of the question asked by the examiner from that project portion. Okay, and you can say with confidence that I have made this project, and you can ask anything from this. Okay, because if you are moving forward with this computer science subject in your future, then you have to create many projects like this, so it will be a good start for you. And if you are aware about the theory portion, then you can easily develop a small program, and then gradually you can improve your programming skills to make a good project also. So in the end, I hope that all of you will be able to make a good project on this Python and MySQL connectivity portion. And to help you, I will be sharing with you a separate video series on project development using Python and MySQL connectivity. I will give you a demo how to develop a project for your final year submission. Okay, so if you are finding this connectivity portion difficult, it is difficult and it is mostly practical oriented. So first try to cover the previous video of theoretical concepts, and then try these programs that we have discussed in this video of hands-on exercise it at your home. Okay, and then you will be able to create these programs easily. Okay, so it is not a theoretical chapter, but the base is theory always. So after going through the basic theoretical steps of creating a program for Python MySQL connectivity, you must do a lot of practical exercises, and that will give you the confidence of making the project by yourself. Okay, so you can take the help of your class teacher, of your subject teacher, and your colleagues also. You can make those project in groups also. Okay, so making that, you will feel confident, and it will help you in sharpening your MySQL and Python connectivity skills. Okay, so we will meet in the next video lesson.